You're at a work meeting. Someone asks, "What do you think?" in English. You know what you think, but before you can say it, your brain is running the translation, your language, then English. And by the time it's done, someone else has already answered, or you've said something much simpler than what you actually meant. The problem is not your English level. The problem is that your brain learned English as a code to break, not a language to think in. So every time you try to speak, it runs the translation automatically. That's not laziness. That's just how it was wired. And it can be rewired. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to start training your brain to think in English directly and how to practice it alone, without a tutor and without even moving abroad. The technique I'll show you looks almost too simple, which is probably why most learners skip it. It is also the same approach researchers have consistently pointed to as the fastest path to automatic, natural speech. Hey, my name is Becca, and I help English learners improve their English speaking skills without living abroad, memorizing grammar rules, and taking expensive classes. So let me explain what is actually going on in your brain. When you learned English in school, you were taught to match words. Your teacher said cat, you thought of the word in your own language. Table, same thing. Beautiful, same thing. Your brain was basically building a dictionary. Every English word had a translation attached to it. And for tests, that was fine. You could read a sentence, find the word in your mental dictionary, get the translation, understand it, and write the answer down. But speaking is different. Speaking is fast. You do not have 3 seconds to search your mental dictionary, find the word, run it through a translation, check it, and then open your mouth. Conversations move, and when your brain cannot keep up, you freeze. Now, here's a question I want you to think about before I go on. Do you think studying more grammar is the answer to this? What do you think? Most English learners would probably say yes, so they go back to grammar books and apps, and their speaking stays exactly where it was. Here's why. Grammar rules require you to think consciously. You stop, check, decide. But in an actual conversation, there's no time to stop and think consciously. Fluent English speakers do not run grammar checks before they open their mouths. They just speak. For a lot of English learners, actually, studying more grammar makes the freezing worse because it gives the brain one more thing to check in the middle of a conversation that's already moving too fast. So, if grammar isn't the fix, what is? What do people who actually think directly in English do differently? Here's what they do. Fluent English speakers do not store single words. They store whole phrases, ready-made pieces of language that come out as one unit. They don't reach for relax. They reach for just switched off for a while. They don't reach for agree. They reach for I completely agree with that. They don't reach for busy. They reach for I've been really swamped lately. These are called chunks, and when your brain works this way, the translation step disappears. There's nothing to translate anymore. The whole thought is already sitting there in English, ready to come out. The method I'm going to show you is called the daily chunk routine. 3 steps, you do them every day. The whole thing takes about 30 minutes, and together they start to change how your brain handles English, from slow code breaking to something much closer to automatic speech. Before I take you through each step, I put together a free guide called the 7-Day Fluency Switch Challenge. It maps out a step-by-step exact routine for an entire week to help you speak English fluently. Every exercise is 30 minutes. You do all of it alone, no speaking partner needed, and on day 7, you record yourself speaking and compare it to day 1. That recording is your proof. Go grab it. The link is in the description. All right, let me show you what each step actually looks like. Step 1 is called input. Every day, find one short piece of English audio, a podcast clip, a short YouTube video, a dialogue, anything between 5 and 10 minutes. Listen to it once normally, just to understand it. Then listen a second time. This time, write down 3 phrases from the audio that feel natural and useful to you. Phrases you could imagine yourself saying in an actual conversation. Something like, "I've been really busy lately," or "It took me a while to figure out," or "I'm not quite sure, but I think." Say each one out loud a few times. These go into your mental phrase bank. The bigger that bank gets, the faster your brain can reach for what it needs when a conversation is happening. Okay, step 2 is shadowing. Take that same audio from step 1, play it again, and this time speak along with it at the same time as the speaker, not after. You copy the rhythm, the speed, the pauses, the way the sentences flow. You are not trying to sound perfect. You are training your mouth and your brain to produce English at normal conversation speed. Even 5 minutes of this a day builds speaking speed in a way that reading grammar notes never will. Step 3 is all about self-narration. This one will feel strange at first, but I want you to try it. Pick one ordinary activity you do every day, making coffee, walking to the bus stop, washing dishes, and while you do it, describe what is happening out loud in English. I'm making coffee. I'm waiting for the water to boil. I need to leave in 20 minutes. You are not performing a speech. You are just getting your brain into the habit of reaching for English in real time without going through another language first. At first, you might pause. You might not know a word. That is fine. The goal right now is the habit, not perfection. Now, let me show you what happens when this routine actually starts working. Think about an English learner called Maria. Someone asks her, "How was your weekend?" Her brain immediately goes to her own language. She forms the thought there first, tries to translate it into English, checks if the sentence sounds right. What comes out is, "I went to the beach and it was slow, uncertain." The person she's talking to starts to look uncomfortable. Maria cuts the sentence short and goes quiet. 3 weeks of the daily chunk routine later, same question comes up. How was your weekend? This time, her brain does not go searching for single words. It reaches straight for the chunks she has been practicing. I had a really good weekend. I went to the beach and just switched off for a while. Was that perfect English? No. Did it work? Completely. And it came out fast. That is what automatic speech looks and sounds like. The question I want you to ask yourself now is, how different would your conversations look if your brain worked like that? What would change? Researchers who study how adults learn languages have found something consistent. Learners who practice phrases and chunks rather than memorizing single words and grammar rules speak faster and sound more natural, even when their grammar is not perfect. The reason is simple. The brain retrieves a full, ready-made phrase much faster than it tries to build a sentence word by word from scratch in real time. The less your brain has to construct on the spot, the more fluent you sound. This is also why a child who has spoken English for 2 years can sometimes sound more natural than an adult who studied for 10. The child was never translating. They were absorbing phrases and using them. Their brain built the language through repetition and use, not through rules. You can train that same thing as an adult. It takes longer because you're also replacing an old habit that has years of practice behind it. But every day you do the daily chunk routine, you are shifting your brain a little further away from translating and closer to automatic retrieval. And that shift, over time, becomes permanent. Here's what I want you to do today after you finish this video. Start with step 1. Find one short audio clip. Listen twice. Write down 3 chunks. Say them out loud. That's your whole job today. If you want the full 7-day fluency switch challenge, link is in the description. 30 minutes a day, no need for a speaking partner, and by day 7, you record yourself to hear the actual difference. If this video helped you, hit the like button and subscribe. See you in the next one.